InvestaFest 2022 is brought to you by these major partners: Atram, To Trade Asia, and these other partners. Do not forget to share your experience and learning on social media. Use our official hashtag InvestaFest 2022.
Sean does speaking engagements throughout the Philippines. He is the founder and editor-in-chief of SEO Hacker, an SEO and internet marketing company. His expertise in the field has drawn the attention of business and company owners, internet marketers, event organizers, bloggers, and other people interested in penetrating the booming internet market of the Philippines and abroad. So without further ado, let's all listen to Mr. Sean C.
Hey, how's it going mga ka-investa? Welcome and welcome. I know it might be a long day today. I hope that you guys are going to be able to absorb everything that you're learning about investments. Investments, finance can be complicated at times. Kaya maraming nagkakaroon ng financial problems, mismanaged monies. Hindi lang individuals, pero mga kumpanya may ganyan din because money and finances is such a big topic to absorb for one day. Did you know that the Bible talks about money so much more than heaven and hell? I think it's around 30 times more, maybe even more than 30 times more. And that's because our Heavenly Father, God, knows that yan ang poproblemahin natin. More than heaven and hell is our daily lives about money. I'm not saying that the afterlife is not important. That is the most important thing. But the here and now, the everyday, is what we're going to be thinking about. And so, welcome to this event. I am so proud to be a speaker here and contribute as well. And I congratulate you because you are here to learn more about how you can manage your finances better, where to invest, where to grow your money, and be a good steward of the resources that God has given you. Now, my talk for today is a collection of stories. I only have around 4 or 5 short stories for you. That's it. No big deal. Just 4 or 5 stories. And the title of my talk is How to Be CEO at 22. This is actually chapter 1 of my book, CEO at 22. This is a book I've written way back 2015. I was 26 years old back then. I'm 33 now. Wow, time flies, no? And I wrote 2 books after that, 50x Your Business and How to Make Remote Work Work. Both books are in Amazon. Actually, all 3 books are in Amazon, but CEO at 22 has a hard copy that you can actually buy from my website, sean.c/book. That's my name /book. And I founded 4 companies. The first one being SEO Hacker. That's my baby. Look, I'm wearing the uniform right now. And I am so proud to be the #1 SEO company here in the Philippines. Literally, if you go in Google right now on your phone, on your computer, just take a few 5 seconds and you type in SEO Philippines, you'll see that SEO Hacker is ranking #1 sa organic search results. Not sa paid ads ng search results, but sa organic search results, the unpaid ones. So that's SEO. That's my business. That's my bread and butter. I manipulate search results for a living, and my work has been featured in these publications so far. And more. Actually, there's a lot more publications that have featured my work, pero ito lang kaya ko ipagkasya ng maayos dito sa slide na to. And if you're wondering what I've been doing in FHM, hindi po ako nag-model doon at nakadamit po yung picture ko doon. Hindi po ako centerfold model, no? They just featured me for... They asked me a couple of questions about SEO and why it's a good job for millennials during that time. So I answered that. They featured me there. 2019 edition, September, with Jose Marichan. Ayan, kasama ko po si Jose Marichan. Very wholesome feature ang ginawa nila sa amin. And these are some of the clients that I work with and have handled and are handling right now. And I hope you're familiar with some of them. We have TGP, SM, and a lot of other companies na nadagdag na sa portfolio namin. Hindi ko pa nalagay dito, such as Mega World, Daflon, Servier, dami na. So, di ko lang pa na-update to, but we're handling a lot of big brands here in the Philippines and abroad. But enough about what I do. Here's my first story for you. If I lock you up in this restroom without a phone, without internet, how would you feel? Happy or sad, right? In all my talks, almost 100% of people would answer sad. Now, if your answer is happy, you got a problem. I suggest you have that checked up. This picture right here is actually a picture of my father's restroom in his business, in his warehouse while I was growing up. My dad is in the hardware business. Sabi nila, pag Phil-Chai ka, Filipino-Chinese, your parents are in one or two businesses, textile or hardware. So my dad was in hardware. And growing up, I would work for my dad as a bodeguero. If you don't know what's a bodeguero, ako po yung nagbubuhat ng hardware to and from our trucks in our bodega. So growing up, I developed pretty significant muscles as well. But I knew the value of money because per day, my dad would give me that 20 pesos to work for the entire day. It was a tiring job and I respect my dad for what he's doing. Why am I sharing this with you? Right? Anong kinalaman ko sa buhay mo, Sean? But I'm just sharing with you my past so you know I wasn't born with a silver spoon. Right? I was able to study college, get through it. But generally speaking, we were at the lower middle class of society. Now, where was I during college? Where was I during college? I was studying at De La Salle University. I was studying IT. ICTM is another fancy term for IT. And I wanted to get into HP. An upperclassman, graduate na siya. One day, went back to school and we talked, short talk lang. Sabi niya, you know, Sean, HP is a nice place. I work there now. I got 25K salary. I got HMO. I got clothing allowance. And I got bigas. No? Hindi ko alam kung bakit excited siya doon sa bigas. Pero lumaki yung mata niya. So sabi ko, oh, parang okay yun ah. Parang okay sa HP. You know, maybe when I graduate, I'll try to apply for HP. That sounds good. And I had one aspiration. Sabi ko, you know, when I graduate, I want to buy a car. During that time, ganda ng bagong Mazda 3 nun, right? Lahat mukhang pare-parehas lang yung kotse nun, except for the new Mazda 3. This was way back 2008, 2009. And I calculated it. Sabi ko, sige, sabihin na nga natin nakapasok ko HP. Nakakuha ko ng 25K na sweldo. By the way, yung 25K niyan, kulang-kulang 19,000 na lang yan pagdating sa akin. Kasi may malaki ang tax ng gobyerno. And mahal yung government benefits and so on. So, assuming, sabi ko 25,000 para makabili akong Mazda 3, sobrang tagal. Sobrang tagal kong ipunin. So sabi ko, what can I buy with 25K a month? And you know, I calculated, I can only buy a Toyota Vios. A least of the line Toyota Vios car pa. Yung pinaka lowest model nila. And you know, I calculated it for a Vios na lowest model. It would take me 5 years. 5 long years. And 5 years for me was a very long time. And the model that I could buy, pag sinabi mong list of the line, usually manual yan, hindi yan automatic. And we all know if you're driving manual here in Metro Manila, your feet will go to heaven. So 5 years is a long time. I don't know for you, is 5 years a long time? Yes or no? Leave it in the chat box, right? For a lot of people, 5 years is a long time. And that's for something that I didn't even like. But I had the problem. This was my problem. I was addicted to computer games. Now, there's a lot of you here, young people tuned in. I want to ask you, can you guess exactly which computer game I was addicted to? Exactly which one? For those of you na nanghula at ang sagot nyo ay Dota 1. You're right. Right? So ganun na katagal. Warcraft 3 na map lang ang Dota 1 sa mga hindi nakakaalam. Da-download mo yung map, you run it via Warcraft 3 and that's it. Tapos LAN cable pa dati. Yun yung tipong, isa na lang, dalawa na lang. Para makastart ng game, right? That's the kind of game I was addicted to. But the community was so strong. I was so hooked into it. I was actually part of this playing team, which now they're known as Mineski. Sila yung kabarkada ko dati. Sila yung nakikipaglaro ko sa kanila dati. Sa Lasal, sa shop called Microsmith that's closed down now. And so, I would fail classes left and right because I would cut classes. I spend 8 hours in the com shop. I wouldn't study. And you know what I realized? I feel like I didn't care about that. I didn't care about me failing. I didn't care about my grades. I didn't care about school. And I felt like this quote right here, which I found on the internet, and it says, everyone's a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its life thinking it was stupid. You see, programming, IT wasn't something I was born for. Wasn't something that I felt like I resonated with. I'd resonate stronger for other things I'm more passionate about, for other things that I knew I was built for. And during that time, mas patok pa sa akin ng computer games kaysa mag-IT. So, doon talaga ako nababad. Now, here's my second story for you. What happened after I graduated? I finally graduated, right? My dad's so happy. And I applied for HP. And that's the only company I applied for. Kapal ng mukha, Yun lang yung company in-applyan ko, wala nang iba. And the first thing they asked me during the interview, it was a well-lit room, carpeted floor, long table, 3 people seated on the other side. Of course, they were managers, they were the higher-ups. I was there as the fresh blood, supposedly an applicant. So sabi nila sa akin, Mr. C, please take a seat. So I did. And the first thing they asked me was, please show us your transcript of records. And so, dinukot ko sa bag ko yung transcript, and with shaking hands, nanginginig yung kamay ko, I submitted it to them because at the back of my head, I knew there was no way you're gonna hire me after you saw my transcript of records because it's full of failures. 28 failing units, 28 smiling faces nakatadtad doon. There's no way they're gonna hire me. There's so many IT graduates out there. Ateneo, UP, LaSalle, UST, Mapua, AMA, STI. Ang dami namin. In short, ang dami namin. And marami sa kanila, walang bagsak. Right? Ako 28 units yung bagsak ko. I don't know what happened with my interviewers. They were drunk, they were high, I don't know. They misplaced my CV somewhere, but they hired me. And up to today, it's a miracle. I cannot explain to you what happened. I don't know why they hired me. It's a miracle. I'm so humbled and I'm so grateful that they hired me during that time. But here's the problem. You know what happened? I stayed only 5 short months working for my dream company. Dream company, 5 months? Is 5 months a long time? Right? We'd hear some of our uncles, some of our parents would say, 10 years na ako dito 20 years na ako dito sa company. I spent my life in this company. I spent my life serving this company. 5 months is actually a very short time, a shamefully short time. Now, why did I do that? Why did I choose to leave only after 5 months in my dream company? Here's why. It was my dream company, but it was not my dream job. I was there for the bigas. So all I wanted was the payout and the perks that was shared to me by that upperclassman. Sadly, a lot of people are the same as I was during that time. But another big reason why I had to resign was SEO Hacker was growing. And I was making 5 times what HP was paying me during that time for my day job. Now, don't get me wrong. HP is a fantastic company to work for. They have a fantastic culture. I love it. Really nice offices. Galing ng training. Wala akong masabi. Right? But it's just that SEO Hacker was growing. And if I didn't resign, I couldn't focus on growing it further and it would die. Now, here's my third story for you. That's how I became CEO. I love writing. Early on, I knew my passion was writing. Put me in a box, give me a pen and paper, and I would write the entire day. So I started this blog called God in You. And I would write about my journey as a single Christian guy, all the way till I was married. See, my wife is there. That's her photo. All the way till I was married, I was writing about my journey. And I looked at the stats. I didn't get a lot of readers. And I didn't get a lot of subscribers. It was depressingly low. So I was finding out, how do I increase my readers? I keep writing things. I write my heart out. I pour myself into this. How come I don't get as much readers? So I searched around in Google. Sabi ko kay Google, how do I increase my readers? How do I increase my subscribers? And this thing called SEO kept popping up. And I said, what's this SEO? What's this SEO thing? So SEO, it turns out, is search engine optimization. And basically, it's the art and science of manipulating search results in Google. So when you search in Google, there's the top 10 results. They don't show up just because trip ni Google ipakita yon. There are guys like me, companies like mine, that actually manipulates the search results. So you get to see the best possible results. The best website, fastest loading, ganda ng mobile display, madali gamitin, ang bilis ng user experience, easy to read, easy on the eyes. Those are things that are factors in SEO. And I manipulate them, me and my team. But when I was starting out, what I did was just apply it to the God and You blog. Everything that I was learning on my own. And during that time, there were not a lot of resources. I had to dig deep in forums about SEO, and the things that they were teaching, some of them were unethical. I had to really think, how can I make it work ethically in Google's guidelines and standards? And so all the things that I was experimenting on, I wrote it in a blog called SEO Hacker. That blog became more and more popular. A lot of people read and shared my stuff. And so I had to adopt it as my business name. Hence, that's my company name today, SEO Hacker. But it started as a blog, and I started as a one-man team. And how I turned it into business was not really what you call smooth sailing, right? It started when I finally went to Hong Kong because I graduated na. My dad was so happy. Hindi siya magbabayad ng tuition fee at miscellaneous fees ko sa school. So sabi niya, sige, let's go to Hong Kong. I'll take you to Hong Kong. And in that trip in Hong Kong, we were on a cruise. A boat cruise. Papunta kaming Macau. Kasi we were just on a tour. And this lady happened to sit beside me. We did small talk with each other. Small talk lang. We just happened to sit by each other. We didn't know each other then. So sabi niya, what do you do? I said, I just graduated and I applied for HPM starting next month. And I do SEO on the side. And her eyes lit up and she said, SEO? My uncle needs that. My uncle at home, he owns a scuba diving company and he needs that. And so I was perplexed. I would go, are we talking about the same thing? SEO, search engine optimization. Because I didn't know a single soul before, including my parents. They had no idea what SEO was. This was, again, way back 2010. No one knew what SEO was. Not a single soul in my community, in my circle of friends, knew what it was. And yet this random lady that I talked with, she knew what it was. So I had to make sure we were talking about the same thing. Sabi niya, yeah, search engine optimization. My uncle needs that. Why don't I refer you to him? Sabi ko, I'd appreciate that. I'd love that. Thank you. But at the back of my head, what I was thinking was, we're on a cruise going to Macau and we're gonna buy our pasalubongs, go on tour. We go back to Hong Kong, fly back home, unpack our bags, give away our pasalubongs. I don't have a business, no business name, no portfolio. I didn't show her anything during that cruise to Macau. I just talked with her that I know SEO. What are the chances that she would remember me? And what are the chances that she would refer me to her uncle? There was no way. No way. Malabo yun. I thanked her. I appreciated it, but I didn't think too much about it. And we went home, we unpacked our bags. And one day, the phone rang. And at the other end of the line, a male voice said, "Is this Mr. C?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Please come to my office. I'd like to see your proposal on SEO." And I said, "Okay, when and where?" And you know what happened? I went to that guy's office. He owns the biggest scuba diving company in the Philippines during that time, Scuba World. And I presented to him with nothing but a short bond paper na isang piraso lang. Now, don't ever do that. Because if you're going to present a proposal, you better have a PowerPoint deck. You better have 3 to 4 copies of your proposal or your contract. And it must be printed on long bond paper. Okay? So yun sa akin, sobrang lala talaga ng pag-present ko. Looking back, right? I can only look back because during that time, I had no idea how to present. I had zero experience. But now that I have experience, I realized what I did then was super crappy. Right? It's so bad. It was so bad. And yet I showed up, even if I felt like that guy could just chased me out of his office with my tail between my legs, saying, "What is this? You don't have a company, you don't have a business name, you don't have any clients, you just have a portfolio, which is your own blog, the God and You blog, and nothing else." Right? I didn't have anything else, but I still showed up. And you know what happened? Another miracle happened. He signed the contract. Now, how much was the contract? It's $1,000 a month. You know why it's $1,000 a month? Because that's what Google said when I was researching about how much SEO was per month in Google. I didn't even know how much SEO was when I was starting out. I was a one-man team and I ran with it. I did everything and I ranked him number one for the keyword scuba diving Philippines. That was a success, and I got so many more clients after that. And you saw my portfolio earlier, and now we are a 50-man team. The rest, as they say, is history. We are handling some of the biggest brands and companies in the Philippines and abroad. And right now, SEO Hacker is actually the number one SEO company here in the country. Now, how did SEO Hacker grow? This is going to be my fourth story for you. You want to know the secret? Here's the secret. Hard work, right? Not much of a secret, is there? But actually, this is it. This is the real deal. A lot of people out there will say, don't work hard, work smart. Don't work hard, work smart. Yeah, but we're in the information technology, information world today where information and knowledge is cheap. In short, smart is cheap. But people who work hard, who have good work ethic, they're uncommon, maybe even rare. So people who work hard today have an upper hand and have an edge over only those who work smart. Now, if you're both, if you work hard and you also work smart, you are a gem. You are a gem. Rarely will people find you. Rarely will people be able to get you in their team. Maybe you ought to be an entrepreneur. Every day I'd read a lot, books, websites, blogs about my industry, analytics, data. I'd write a lot when I was starting out. I write a lot of blogs for myself, for my clients, for SEO Hacker blog. I write so many things. I would also manage our cash flow. Always remember, when you're starting out, the most important thing isn't passion. You can be so passionate about the Rubik's Cube or chess, but that doesn't make money, right? The most important thing is cash flow. Your revenue has to be greater than expenses. If it's the other way around, where expenses are greater than revenue, we call that bleeding out, or your company's dying. And soon after, if expenses are still greater than your revenue, your company will die. I manage our clients. Clients want the sun, moon, and stars. You have to tell them, hey, this is what you paid for. We're here on Earth. This is only what you get. I manage employees. Now, a lot of problems. They create gossip, right? So managing employees is also difficult. So I worked hard to build SEO Hacker. That's the secret of our growth. That's how SEO Hacker has grown to what it is today. There are a lot of principles that I practice in my leadership. One of which is the linchpin principle, which says that the scarcity creates value, and in every transaction, there's a value exchange. What does that mean? It means if you keep selling cheap, common products, people will find your products cheap and common. So they will only buy the cheapest of that kind of product. So in SEO Hacker, what we did was we made our SEO services so expensive. In fact, we're the most expensive SEO company here in the country. But we are also the best. And we also make sure that when we get a client in one industry, yun na yun. So kung kliyente ko si TGP, for example, hindi na kuha ng Watsons, hindi na kuha ng Mercury Drug. In fact, I rejected them. So that is how we work. And because we have an exclusive contract with our clients, they actually pay a premium for us. What kind of business do you want to be? Because this principle allows me to decide immediately. Pag may naglo-lowball ng presyo ko, Sean, bigay mo na yung SEO mo sa akin for this price, super baba. Immediately, I have an answer. No, we can't do that. Right? It's either this price or we don't have an agreement, and go ahead, look for another supplier. If you don't have these principles, you agonize about the decision. May hirapan ka, mag-iisip ka. Sabi mo, baka dapat kinuha ko na lang yun kahit nilowball yung presyo ko. Kasi kita pa rin yun eh. Right? If you don't have these principles, it will make it hard for you as a businessman, as a leader, and a manager, which is not going to be helpful, which will not help your business to grow, which will not help you generate more revenue. You know what I realized after 11 years of running SEO Hacker? Work can be enjoyed. You don't need to work in a job you hate to retire with dignity someday. I know we're talking about money. I know we're talking about investments. We're talking about how to generate investments, income, etc. Business is one of the best ways to generate revenue. Sabi nga nila, pag mag-i-invest ka sa high risk, high return, only invest money you're willing to lose. How can you get more money you're willing to lose? Business is the best way. You don't need to work in a job you hate to retire with dignity someday. And you know how you can do this? There are 3 ways you can do this. First, put God in the center of your life. Put God in the center of your life. You know, my story earlier, going to Hong Kong, by chance, I met this lady. By chance, she had an uncle. By chance, he owns the biggest scuba diving company here in the Philippines. By chance, she remembered to refer me. By chance, her uncle called me up. By chance, he signed the contract. How lucky can a guy get, right? And I don't believe in luck. I believe there's a God up there. He orchestrates everything, and you just have to be faithful in your walk with Him. I also share with you that God is the most important thing, because I've met many successful people during my time as CEO, and there are 2 kinds. The first kind is a successful and miserable person. Nothing can be sadder than that. When you have so much money, so much success, and yet you're miserable. Nothing can be sadder than that. The successful and miserable people, I ask them, are you happy? You know their answer? I can be happier. I can be happier. If only my wife would respect me. If only my wife would listen to me. If only my children would respect and listen to me, listen to what I say. If only they'd fix their lives, my children. They have so many mistresses, so many vice in their life. For them, life is about the here and now. There's no life after this. There's no spiritual world. Live and die. That's it. And it's so sad looking at their lives. They don't have God in the center. They believe God is money. Money is God. You know, successful and fulfilled people, the second kind, successful and fulfilled. I ask them, are you happy? And you know their answer? They smile and they say, I could not be happier. They have one wife, kids who respect them, love them, little to no vice, no mistress. They're faithful. God is at the center of their life. They go to church. For them, life is about eternity. Life that we're living here today is too short. 70 years, 80 years. Eternity is forever. They're preparing for that. Their decisions are about eternity. If you want to know more about God, I invite you to join our Sunday worship service. It's in YouTube. Just type CCF. That's the church I go to. You'll be able to join us every Sunday, listen to the service, learn more about God and how you can put Him in the center of your life. So I just want to teach you, if ever you want to be successful, because this is what I told myself, if ever someday I want to be successful, I want to be successful and fulfilled. I don't want to be successful and miserable. And the differentiating factor, the fine line in between, is God. So that's what I am passing on over to you. Put God in the center. You want to be successful? Good. Be successful and fulfilled, not successful and miserable. Second reason, second thing you need is guts. Show up. You got to show up. You know, during that time when I thought I had no chance, zero chance to sign that contract with Scuba World, you know what I told myself? I just got to show up. I just got to show up. I just got to be there. I just got to make sure that I do this, because if not, I'm going to regret it. And if not, I miss 100%. I got zero chances. If I show up, maybe I get 10%, 20%. I don't know, right? Just show up. You got to have guts. If I didn't show up with that Scuba World presentation, guess what? I wouldn't be here today speaking with you. I wouldn't have the things I have. Right? Today I have too many cars already. I have a significant size house and lot. I got married at 25 with 500 guest wedding. I'm so blessed. That's because one of the reasons why I showed up. I showed up. If I didn't show up, I'd probably be still working in HP today. Probably. I'd probably just have, a small condo unit. Probably I'm still not married. Probably I only have one car and it's mortgaged in the bank. Probably. Probably got zero to no investments. Probably. But I showed up and my life changed from that point on. And lastly, nothing in life worth doing is easy. Always remember that. Nothing in life worth doing is easy. You have to work hard. So many people work smart. They're so common right now. Information is free. Information is fast. This is the knowledge economy where there's a lot of knowledge workers, but a lot of them are lazy. Those who will stand out, work hard. Those who stand out will work hard. Nothing in life worth doing is easy. I hope you enjoyed this presentation, mga ka-investa, and I hope that it has provided more value to you. Remember that the most important thing you should invest in is not money. It's yourself. What you know. And what you know, if you know it deep enough, will trickle down to here. And someday, if it's here, then you can pass it on to others. I hope the lessons you learned today, you will be able to pass it on to others. And if you enjoyed this and you want to know more about me or my principles, I am on Instagram. Just search Sean C. We can chat there, or you can follow my Facebook page. And if you want to get the book to know the entire spectrum of the story, please do support me in my authorship of my book. You can order it online via sean.c/book, and I'll ship it to you for free. I hope this helps, and thank you so much for listening in. I now turn the floor to our moderators and facilitators. God bless you.
InvestaFest 2022 is brought to you by these major partners: Atram, 2Trade Asia, and these other partners. Do not forget to share your experience and learning on social media. Use our official hashtag InvestaFest 2022.